So within that great environment, what's happening with early stage startup? So when we started in 2009, maybe I'll start by telling you a story. When we started in 2009, the entrepreneurs, there are very few experienced serial entrepreneurs. So we decided we were going to jump in and nurture and help them, give them all the help they can, because boy, they were inexperienced and have such a high likelihood of failure, and that's a pity because they're smart people. Let's go in and help them as much as we could. And I think we did okay, but in the last 6 years, the entire scene has dramatically changed from almost no serial entrepreneurs to now perhaps tens, if not hundreds of thousands of serial entrepreneurs. And these people have been there and done that. They don't need that much nurturing. And we started to realize the people who are most likely to succeed are those who are self-confident, who don't believe they need an incubator or someone to hold their hands. And they'll use your help. They'll come to you when they need your help. They don't need you to hover over them. These are self-confident people. And if these people have tried it once or twice, so they've become a serial entrepreneur, they're perhaps on their third company, that's probably the most likely to succeed type of companies. Whether their first two companies succeeded or failed, it doesn't matter because they've learned on the job. And these people have tremendous value in the marketplace, and now the entire investment ecosystem is kind of built around that. If you're a serial entrepreneur who has a proven track record and who's highly respected, who knows his space, you will demand 10 times more valuation than someone who's trying it the first time. So that's the kind of change that's happened in the landscape. It's completely different. So to give you a contrast, I believe in 2010, we had our first company that we invested in closed down because they failed in their original objectives. So I remember the entrepreneur was in my office. He was crying, and he said, Kai-Fu 老师, I will try to pay you back some way someday. And I told him that wasn't necessary. The game that we're playing is, the game rules are simple. We make 100 investments. We only expect 5 to 10 of them to really have great payoff. For the rest, it doesn't matter. So the 5 or 10 that will give us 20 to 200x return will make us will help our fund do very well and help make us and our LPs very happy. The remaining 90 to 95, it really doesn't matter. You're here to build your experience. So just go try again. So that's the message I gave him. And then earlier this year, we had another one of the companies we invest in ready to close down. So he came to my office. He said, Kai-Fu 老师, he says, I appreciate your help. We've got 2 months of cash left. We're going to do our best to come out of this alive. But if in 2 months we don't have a turnaround and don't have any investment, we will have to shut down. I said, I understand. He said, but I want to tell you, you've been good to us. So when we shut down, I will still give you an opportunity to invest me in again. And I said, yes, and I think he's coming back to us. So the game rules have changed, the mentality has changed, people have matured. In the US, the same thing perhaps has happened, but maybe over 30 years. But in China, 6 years, maybe 5 or 6 years, we've seen this amazing acceleration to the caliber and experience of the entrepreneurs. So in terms of the overall ecosystem, when we started 6 years ago, we thought we had to create everything. We were very proud when our friends from Silicon Valley said, you're Silicon Valley in a bottle, because you did everything for them, and then when they graduate, they're out in the wild, but while you're there in Innovation Works, you are doing everything to help them. We're so proud of that. But today, that really, that simple support really isn't needed that much anymore. Back then, we were lucky to find an entrepreneur from one of these companies. But now, they are everywhere, and they're serial entrepreneurs. If you were a product manager from Tencent 5 years ago, you'd be a very rare, chased after entrepreneur by anybody. Today, that's still fine. If you want to start a company, you can still probably get funded, but you're not the most sought after anymore. Serial entrepreneurs, people who left Tencent 5 years ago, started the first company, failed, second company sold, third company this is the kind of entrepreneur that people really want to work with. So now there's government support, incubators, media, roadshows, all kinds of things available in China with crowdfunding, local currency funding, all kinds of things that's really created a phenomenal early stage ecosystem in China, and that's been a big change. The other big change is now there are at least 10,000 angel investors who are high quality in China. And they're probably much larger number if you count, if you're more liberal. But just in our area, how do we come up with this number? Well, you count how many people became multimillionaires from Alibaba, Tencent, Baidu, and other companies. And there's at least 5,000 of them. And many of them have left. And when you leave a great company like that, what are you going to do? Either you start a company, or you retire, or you become an angel. The third is actually perhaps the most interesting option to a lot of people. So as a result, the Chinese early stage rounds are getting quite expensive. So, the angel rounds, A rounds have gone up more than about twice in the last 5 years. And there's high service expectations. So when people take your money, it's not really about taking your money. A lot of people not in mainland China, perhaps in Hong Kong or other places, still feel like, well, I don't need money, so I don't need to go approach an angel or a VC. But actually, great entrepreneurs rarely need money. They usually can have ways to find their own money, borrow the money, they have the self-confidence. But really, you get money not because you need it, but because you want people who can add value, who can introduce you to other people, who can help you build your product, who can give you market advice, and so on. And that's becoming higher and higher. Startups are getting funded faster. Great startups are often funded before people know that these people are starting a company. Many people, by the time they leave, their last company, Baidu or Alibaba, they already have multiple VC term sheets in their hands. So it's harder and harder to be an angel, actually. And there are many such angels. So if you're an entrepreneur in China, this is another very fortunate fact you can take advantage of. The stock market correction has actually been very good for high tech because valuation was getting crazy. And then the correction actually put a little more sanity around it. How crazy was the market? As an example, Baofeng Keji as a company that could be, how many of you use Baofeng Yinyin? Let's see your hands. Maybe 5%? How many of you use Xunlei? Maybe 10%? And probably some of you don't want to raise your hand, I understand. So Xunlei has 3 times the market base based on this quick poll, right? But it has maybe 1/10 the market capitalization because Baofeng has the wisdom or the good fortune to have gone public in China. And that kind of high valuation is causing major ripple effects in the entire marketplace. More U.S. companies are coming back to China. More Chinese companies want local currency. More people see lucrative opportunities and want to grow. It also speaks to a scarcity of good high-tech companies in the renminbi local market. So a lot of entrepreneurs are seeing this and are being harder driven to success than ever before. So even with the correction, one could argue the local market still offers a very healthy premium. So all those things will stimulate and help more growth of more early stage